In the last lesson, we debunked the wildly popular theory of using rewards to motivate behavior. In this lesson, we'll challenge another widely held belief, and that is we pay kids or give allowance for doing family chores. A lot of families pay kids for doing chores. After all, you get paid to go to work. Why shouldn't kids get paid for the work they do around the house? And don't we want them to learn to work hard and understand the value of money? On the surface, that all makes sense. However, paying kids to do family chores, even when it's set up as an allowance, actually does more harm than good. Since you know I love lists, let me share 4 problems with paying kids to do chores. First, it creates the expectation that kids should get paid for helping at home. You may get paid for going to work, but you don't get paid to grocery shop or make meals or do yard work. We do those things because we're part of a family, and those jobs keep the family running. Second, remember the concept of belonging and significance? Everyone in the family helps because we're part of the family, part of our team. Our kids may not love doing household jobs, but it's important they know their contributions make a meaningful difference in your family. Even young toddlers can contribute by putting napkins on the table, using a sponge to wipe off the kitchen chairs, folding washcloths. Everyone in the family contributes because we are a team. The third problem, linking chores with allowance is a slippery slope. What do you do if only some of the jobs are finished? What if the job is only substandard? Do you pay half of the allowance? Do they lose it altogether? What if you asked your kids to do a job that's outside his normal responsibilities? Are you going to pay him for those too? Because of this slippery slope, parents tend to get so frustrated with the system that they either abandon the allowance altogether and/or stop asking kids to help out. And the fourth problem, linking family chores with allowance, is at the heart of the entitlement problem. When money becomes a reward for setting the table or mowing the lawn, it leaves kids thinking, what's in it for me, every time they're asked to help out. Daniel Pink, the New York Times bestselling author of Drive, The Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us, puts it this way. By linking money to the completion of chores, parents turn an allowance into an if-then reward. This sends a clear and clearly wrong-headed message that in the absence of a payment, no self-respecting child would willingly set the table, empty the garbage, or make her own bed. That's not what we want. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying you shouldn't give an allowance. I'm saying we just don't want to tie the allowance to chores. So if we don't have an allowance to hang over our kid's head, how are we ever going to get them to help out around the house? Well, there are a lot of ways, but here are 3 quick changes you can make right now to get more cooperation. Change number 1, never give another chore. Instead of assigning chores, I'm going to ask you to call them family contributions. Family contributions. Because when I hear the word chore, I envision drudgery, and it doesn't sound like much fun at all. I think that's the way our kids perceive it too. When I hear the words family contributions, I may not be thrilled about unloading the dishwasher, but I am reminded that it is a contribution, and when I do those things, I'm contributing in a meaningful way. This doesn't mean your kids are suddenly going to be excited about helping out at home, but this simple change in perspective from chores to contributions will shift how your kids perceive the jobs that they do in your family. Remember, in the democratic family, everyone participates in the privileges and everyone participates in the responsibilities. On the topic of privileges, I'm sure your kids have a lot of them. They have a home that they live in, they have food on the table, they get an education, they probably have some perks like technology and maybe vacations. Well, since they participate in all of those privileges, it's also required that they participate in the family responsibilities, the family contributions. Not only will your kids gain important life skills, but family contributions foster belonging and significance. They teach your kids what it means to be part of a family and reminds them that they contribute in meaningful ways. Change number 2 to get your kids to take on more responsibility. Employ when-then routines. When-then routines require that the yucky stuff is done before the more fun parts of the daily routine. They might sound like this. When you've cleaned up the toys, then you can go out and play. When you've completed your family contributions, then you can enjoy your 30 minutes of technology time. When you've finished your family contributions, then we'll leave for soccer practice. We'll cover the power of when-then routines in a lot of detail in session 3, but this will get you started. Change number 3 is to implement the no strings attached allowance. This means an allowance that is not tied to family contributions or anything else. A no strings attached allowance is a training tool to teach kids how to spend, save, give, invest, and budget. And you can start this allowance as young as 4 years old, and by the time your kids graduate from high school, they'll be fully proficient in all things related to money and managing a budget. This tool is so powerful, and we encourage you to start it as early as possible. When you're ready, we have an advanced module on the topic of allowance with a step-by-step plan to help you through that process. Next up, we're going to really dive into this session's tools. Get ready to create a more peaceful, positive tone for your household and help your kids build the skills they'll use for a lifetime. I'll see you in the next lesson.